The following list has been brought to you by the attack button.
Everyone's a zombie. And on my birthday, too!
Here are the 10 best hack and slash games of all time, ranked. Number 10, Lollipop Chainsaw. Way back before he became the head of DC Films, James Gunn was a gorehound director, putting out some of the coolest underground American films. Little super anybody? So who else should he work with than Suda51, the offbeat game director of Killer 7 and No More Heroes? The result is Lollipop Chainsaw, a game about a girl with a chainsaw and a lot of zombies. Oh, and a boyfriend who is only human head. It's quirky to say the least. I mean, look who worked on it. And it needs to be. The gameplay is extremely simple. Yes, you'll hack and slash, but this one is more about the dangerous comedy vibes. So if you like that TV show Peacemaker, check this one out. Number 9, Dantes Inferno. When Dante laid down his magnum opus epic poem, The Divine Comedy, in the 14th century, many critics agreed it was a groundbreaking work, merging the cultural themes and history within the shadow of the Vatican's dogmatic decrees. However, its gameplay, just wasn't that good. You just turn the page, that's pretty boring. Thankfully, Electronic Arts fixed this by 2010 by heavily borrowing from God of War 3. Seriously, if you like those classic God of War games, this is an excellent take on the genre. A bit unoriginal, but given how long it's been since we got one of those isometric 3D beat-em-ups, it's aged rather gracefully. Now let gamers fight in Paradiso, EA. Number 8. Hyrule Warriors. Some people think Zelda games are hack and slashes because Link has a sword. The genre is already a bit nebulous, but applying it to the hero of Hyrule, that's not happening on our list. But let's split the difference with Hyrule Warriors, an excellent Omega Force game merging the Dynasty Warriors gameplay with the characters of Zelda. We're all fans of the extended Warriors spin-offs here, which mostly consist of running through large fields and mashing the attack button. But if we had to recommend one game to a newcomer, we'd suggest the series that most are familiar with. Plus, the animations of Hyrule Warriors are much more expressive than Dynasty Warriors. Look, either way, you're watching this list, you need to go play one of those Koei Tecmo Warrior games for sure. Number 7, Darksiders. Darksiders is not a happy story, and no, we're not talking about the actual game's plot with the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. The Darksiders franchise has been inconsistent to say the least, but the reason fans still have hope it will eventually see a conclusion is because the first game is among the best adventures of the PlayStation 3 360 era. Players take control of War on his journey to discover why the apocalypse was triggered, in an effort to clear his own name. It is absolutely stacked with big beefy boy combat. Seriously, look how thick these bros are. Dashing, bashing, hacking, and slashing. Big meaty monster men. Hopefully someday we'll get that fourth game, right? Number 6, Kingdom Hearts. You're either of two minds about this entry. Either you recognize Kingdom Hearts as a series of light action role-playing games where players hack and slash, albeit with keyblades rather than a sword, or you mostly know this series as a meme. The Square Enix Disney collaboration is not kid stuff. Oh dear, don't make us explain the complexity of the Kingdom Hearts story, but it is a game without blood and violence. The enemies are just shadows, really, but calling in Goofy or Donald for backup is a surprisingly sound gameplay loop. If you've enjoyed some of the newer Final Fantasy games, you might actually want to give this one a look. Number 5, Diablo 4. So you've likely noticed that our list here is made up of single-player adventures. Well, let's solve that with Diablo 4. The latest in the long-running Blizzard series, up to 4 players can roam the dusty catacombs and dark magic halls over and over again. The Diablo series has a perfectly fun campaign, but to really appreciate and experience any one entry, you must play them over and over again. Search new areas and unlock some new, and even better, unbalanced loot. The fact that you can share that experience with friends is what turned this series into an enduring phenomenon. Number 4, Devil May Cry 5. There was about a 10-year gap where the entire conversation of Devil May Cry was about Part 3 versus Part 4, and if DMC even belonged in the conversation. For the record, we say yes. But it didn't seem like there was a path forward. Devil May Cry 5 not only silenced any doubt on Dante's future, it surpassed the very best the franchise had ever offered. Devil May Cry is about slashing demons and blasting them back with handguns. Each step into Hyper Flash style is met with grounded grit, making this entry far and away the coolest on the list. Plus, on the PlayStation 5 and Series X, you can knock up the frame rate to 120 frames per second. Another smash hit from the Capcom Renaissance. Number 3, Bayonetta. So as we were saying, there was about a 10-year gap where not much was going on with the Devil May Cry series, and that is probably because a good chunk of the team, director included, left to start Platinum Games and kick off the Bayonetta franchise. Even if Bayonetta prefers to be goofy versus Dante's cool, we'd be fools to ignore its superior gameplay. This is a game about a witch with guns in her high heels fighting angels in a cemetery while a techno remix of Fly Me to the Room plays in the background. If that doesn't get your blood pumping, well, try it again. The portal-based combos and witch time dodges are demanding, but the wild, jazzy soundtrack and outrageous hilarious cutscenes always inspired player participation. And definitely don't sleep on Part 2 or Part 3 either. Number 2, Ninja Gaiden 2004. Do people even remember Ninja Gaiden was an arcade game? After an extensive and important stay on the Nintendo Entertainment System, Ninja Gaiden came roaring back in 2004 and instantly caught the attention of critics and players with its punishingly hard difficulty, satisfying hack-and-slash combos, and inspired settings. Also, it was an original Xbox exclusive made by a Japanese studio, Team Ninja. Heck, that'd be pretty weird today. Ninja Gaiden took the burgeoning 3D slasher, arguably started with Devil May Cry, and demanded discipline and focus over expression and flash. It still plays great today, and thankfully, it's on a lot more consoles than the original Xbox. Number 1, God of War. No, you're not reading that wrong. This is not about the God of War reboot, which debuted on the PlayStation 4 and concluded with Ragnarok on the PlayStation 5. Those games, while incredible, seem to have moved past the hack-and-slash systems of the PlayStation 2 original. And while we can't complain with the results, we also can't deny the pure action perfection of the first God of War. So many games attempt to springboard their next entry, but God of War completed its story, leaving little room for sequels without completely breaking canon, which obviously they did because there's a lot of sequels. But the first God of War put it all on the table, and future games would grow and enhance these concepts to further entertain fans, but there's a completeness here in the very first God of War and its hack-and-slash gameplay you just won't find elsewhere. And there you have it, the 10 best hack-and-slash games of all time, ranked. How's your thumb? Ready to keep bashing buttons? Sounds good. Let's start by clicking around here on Game Rant. We've got many more lists that will slash the hack. I got nothing, but we'll see you soon.